Morning. How are we all? Beep, 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 etc. It's 3 o'clock in the morning here. Can't sleep. I thought I'd get up because I can't sleep. Have a chin wag with the masses. That's you, by the way, the masses. You lumpen proletariat, you. So, it's time for a mull again. There's so much going on I can't bloody keep up. I don't know about you, right? And I sit there thinking, right, I've had this, I've got that, I'll do this. And then I think, what the for? Because there's so much to do that you just can't keep up with it. So a number of things have happened. So I thought I'd have a word. Right? So I met with somebody yesterday who I've not seen for a long time, actually, because they don't live where I live anymore. And I thought, oh, hello, I'll meet and have a quick coffee. So we had a quick coffee. Came to see me up here in the Edijester abode, and we had a quick coffee. And they were terribly upset. They got terribly upset. This is a grown man, terribly upset about the whole LGBTQ and, gender mutilation business. Not least of all because some of my friends are trans. That's what was upsetting them. This was a grown man, right, reduced to tears. Think about that for a second. Reduced to tears. And the reason that he was reduced to tears was not because he's upset about the whole thing. That wasn't the issue. The issue was he is no longer able to hold in his mind the idea that it's okay, when his mind knows that actually none of it is, that the LGBTQ is an insufferable bunch of twats, right? That's what was upsetting him. But he couldn't let it go, because if he lets it go and he makes it public that he feels this way, his social life is over. I think sometimes we forget what it is we're asking to do in our peakenings. I did a peakening in Naples the other day, in the Calendar Girls. I went to Naples and did a peakening. It was a Yorkshire peakening. Come on. I'm serious. Sometimes we forget what it is we're asking people to give up, what it is we're asking people to take on board, and what it is we're asking people to do when we peak. Warrior teachers know about this. Because there's so much going on in their heads when we do. So much going on in their heads. But there is, to a certain degree, a sadness about having to do it when you realise that the life that you had before is over. That's the sad bit for them, you see. Because they don't want to give everything up. And you can understand why, would you? Most of us have lost it, or given it up, yes. Many of us have lost it because we were forced to. So it just reminded me, and I thought it was a good idea sometimes to remind ourselves that that's what you're asking people to do. That's a big ask, folks. It's a big ask, and we shouldn't forget it, okay? That was the first thing that was mulling about. And so the second thing I'm mulling about is poppies. I put up a post that was kindly sent to me by somebody else. It wasn't me that found it. It wasn't me that found it. Somebody else sent it to me. And I just put it up with 2 words. F-off. F-off. Which I think should always be said in the most highfalutin English of, F-off. It's better than F-off, isn't it? I think F-off. 130,000 views and climbing is all I can say. It's gone nuts. Or in the vernacular, viral. That's right, it's gone viral. And the response from this Poppy Legion nut jobs was extraordinary. And if you haven't seen it, go and have a look. You'll find it on my timeline. It's been all over the place. So I think people have started digging now to see what's going on. I saw Isabella Oakeshott on TV decrying them because they've got such a big DEI department. They have got a big DEI department. It's massive. And also that they've got 250 million in reserve. What for? What for? Why is that money in there? There's something terribly wrong about all this. This is back to these charities again. See, we need massive regulation change with charities. We really do. What are they going to do when they're all gone? They'll have to deal with the Gulf War veterans, obviously, but eventually they'll all be gone. If there's not another war. And then we've got the men and the women that are out there fighting in other places or doing things in different areas or working in the military. But they're not very specific about what they're doing. It isn't as simple as the dead from this time anymore, is it? It's much more complicated than that. So what are they doing? Either they've got a blue-haired nose ring knob jockey on their, social medias, or this is a sign of a larger problem elsewhere, which is, I'm going with the second of those. I think it's part of a larger problem elsewhere. It is absolutely time that the average Joe, who I know, as I've already said, it's sometimes a big ask, that the average Joe needs to wake up to what the employer they are with is doing to them. Because the practices of some places like the DWP and any of these big companies that are pushing EDI/die, any of that nonsense, are, as organisations, they've been parasitized. Do you remember Alien, where Johnner got the sort of face huggers, philoloper tube down in his gutty whatsies? Did you remember? And then they tried to take it off and the thing went round his neck. Oh, that's the worst bit of the film, that for me. But then out comes bursting out of his chest and goes running away. They're parasitized. It's either that or you can think about it like an ichneumon fly, which sticks its young in a live caterpillar. And then the caterpillar's going, slight tummy trouble. Before it bursts out with maggots everywhere. They're parasitized. Now, EDI, Equality, Diversity and Inclusion, or Diversity, Inclusivity and Equity, or whatever you want to call it, is a parasite. There is nothing about it that is good. It cannot be done in any way that is good. And the lovely left of our side who are holding on to it are essentially mad. You're all mad. Mad as hatters. Right, I used to think it was a good thing. Many people used to think it was a good thing. It's gone. Done. Finished. Because what the companies that they work for are doing is they're actually saying to you, we are becoming an ideological and politically driven body. We are no longer, our main purpose is no longer to sell widgets to old Joe Cuthbertson, who lives on the corner. Our purpose is no longer to provide service X to Mrs. Lilac Primrose of Staines Avenue. That's not our job anymore. Our job now is to become an ideological and political vehicle for the indoctrination of the workers by EDI and DIE. And if you don't get that, you're not paying attention. Now, I don't think when I get up to work, let's say that I'm, RV Fitzgibbon. I'm RV Fitzgibbon. I get up in the morning, RV Fitzgibbon. You go off to work, love? Yeah, I'm going now. Going, all right, you have a nice day. And I go to work and I get on the phone and Mrs. Clodhopper rings me and says, oh, my electricity bill seems a bit high right now. Can you do something about it? And I go, oh, nice to hear from you, Mrs. Clodhopper. I'll sort this out for you, my love. Don't worry. And I get down and I help out Mrs. Clodhopper out. She ends up with £100 refund. Oh, you lovely wee man. And off she goes. Right? So that's my job. And then come the afternoon, oh, you got a training session. All right, okay. Where is it? Just downstairs. Go on. We've got an external bloke in and an internal one because we want to cover it from the outside and the inside. Right, what's it about? The fact that you're a white bastard. And you go and sit in this training and they tell you that you have original sin and that men can be women. Yep. Well, they tell you that the racism is endemic. Is it? Where? The CEO's black. It's political. They're indoctrinating you. And you're being indoctrinated by fools. Because the vast majority of people that stand up there and go, the problem with white people is, now men can be women, you must but always kowtow, and you must always make room for the cocks in frocks. Right? They're indoctrinating you. They're doing it internally and they're getting people to come in externally and do it. And the vast majority of people that run the businesses don't know. Because they are absentee landlords. They're on the golf course. It's not true. But that is what they're doing. They're forcing you to partake in a political ideology, and they shouldn't be able to do it. The government should step in and do something. But, hang on a minute. We haven't got a government. We've got a weird collective bunch of oddities that are setting about wrecking the education system and wrecking business and making sure that what they've got is a public sector elite who will leech off the private sector in order to keep themselves alive, even though really they should be on sort of life support and about to undergo the assisted suicide, which the government is so keen to bring in. I'm so sorry, but we're going to say that we're going to put this person on assisted suicide. They don't allow us permission to do so. What are they called? Oh, this is the Department for Work and Pensions. Turn it off. I'd like to see the entire public sector on a bleeding drip. So, make no bones about it. That's what they're doing. They are forcing you to partake. Now, likewise, you go back to the poppies, and you get the situation whereby those puppies that you pay for, the vast majority of that money is going to go to the staff and to EDI and DI, which means you're funding a political and ideological movement that you may not well believe in or agree with, which of course I don't. So this shouldn't be happening at all. You should have the right as an individual to say you can F off with this nonsense. You can F off with it. Because what the Legion did when they produced that revolting trans flag was send an FU to people who died in the Second World War. That's what they did. And then they had the cheek to say it's about gay people. LGBT has got nothing to do with gay people, right? As soon as you get your head around that, the fact of the better. LGBTQ, look up at Q. As soon as you put the T on, the LGB goes, right? Because the LGBT in LGBT includes men who think they're women and women who think they're men. In which case, sexuality doesn't exist. You can't have LGBT. End of story. So my little fellow lad that came to see me yesterday and then, got a little bit upset, still wouldn't accept it. Yeah, but there are some people who are obviously actual real trans people. No, mate, there aren't. You like to think that, and that's where you are right now. It's like he's going through the process. By the end of next week, it'll be, right, let's get rid of this shite. That's what I hope. But here we are. The hell's wrong with the world? The hell's wrong with the world? You think it's bad now, it's going to get worse. In January, we've got a new bill coming in so that Ofsted, right, can censor, monitor, fine people on the internet. You wait. You haven't seen nothing yet. They are going to destroy every piece of resistance to this nonsense until the only thing that exists in terms of how you should think in the workplace and how you should think privately is based on EDI and DIE. Don't believe me? You don't have to. Just wait. All right? It's not a conspiracy theory. This is very serious. Employers are using the fact that they're their employer to emotionally blackmail and force their employees to take part in this rubbish. And there are thousands of people who are silent because they have to be. Millions, I imagine. But the price may well be that you have to speak up and then you have to go to court. You have to speak up and you have to lose your job. That might be the price. Well, nobody's going to pay that. And we've got nobody in charge that's going to do anything about it. You think the rot's bad now? Wait till you wake up in 5 years' time on the day of the election and see what happens then. Because by that time, they'll have got another generation of people who will believe that EDI and DIE is normal, that power and oppression narratives are all we have, that being at each other's throats through identity politics is the only way to be in the world. They'll have another generation. And by that time, ladies and germs, it'll be too late. Now, buzz off and do something. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.